OHIO, the Ohio State Buckeyes pull off a huge win, 38-25 against the Penn State Nittany Lions, and this definitively proves that Ohio State is the best team in the Big Ten this year by a long shot. This game was all Ohio State, and we only improved on what we did against Nebraska. This Ohio State team is the front runner for the national title. I mean, this team is so deep and so good, and it was just proven last night against Penn State. What's up, Tailgaters? My name is Tailgate Nate. Welcome back to another Ohio State fan reaction. This time, I'm going to be reacting to the 38-25 win against the Penn State Nittany Lions. This game was all Ohio State, and we are going to get right into the game review. Of course, I'll talk about this game as a whole a little bit later tonight when I upload my week review. But let's go in depth, shall we? So Penn State wins the toss, defers to the second half. Ohio State gets the offense out first. Again, there were concerns, including myself. I was concerned about the offensive line and the running game. If those two things can get going, I was also concerned about the run defense, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But we seemed to figure out our run game early, didn't we? Garrett Wilson, a 62-yard end around to the Penn State 13, which sets up two straight plays of Master Teague into the end zone. And with 1 minute and 17 seconds down, Ohio State already has a 7-0 lead. Later, Penn State on their very next drive takes a risk. They decide to go for it on their own 45-yard line on a 4th and 2, and Sean Clifford can't find anyone open. Great coverage by the Ohio State defense, and Ohio State and Justin Fields is left with a short field, and Chris Olave with an amazing catch in the end zone. It's 14-0. Later, Penn State kicks a 31-yard field goal. Ohio State on their next drive misses the field goal, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter, 14-3 Ohio State. So watching this first quarter, Justin Fields again is just playing out of his mind, and we seem to find our running game. Trey Sermon is running well. Master Teague is running well. Of course, that run by Garrett Wilson, and the offensive line is just bullying that defensive line for Penn State. At the end of the first, I think I already mentioned this, but Blake Hobbiel missed a 20-yard field goal, and then he didn't kick. There were two other field goals that could have been kicked by Hobbiel, but he didn't kick them. It was a walk-on. I think Damasio is his name. He came on to kick field goals, and I don't really know what happened to Blake Hobbiel, if they just sidelined him or if he got hurt or something. Like, I don't know, because it was a 20-yard field goal he missed. It was a chip shot field goal, so I wonder if he may have hurt something. I hope Blake Hobbiel can get back on the field, but then Damasio went on. Again, I'm sorry if that's not his name. He is a walk-on, and I just expected Blake Hobbiel to kick for the entire season. Usually pretty automatic, so there might be something going on with him. I guess we'll have to find out later, but I have heard nothing as of yet. Next couple possessions are punts for Penn State and Ohio State. Until Ohio State gets the ball back, they go 15 plays, 89 yards, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. It was a lot of Justin Fields on this drive, and it was a Jeremy Ruckert 10-yard pass from Justin Fields that gets him into the end zone. It's 21-3. Later, Penn State punts the ball. It's 21-3, and Ohio State thinks that they are going to walk into the tunnel with a 21-3 lead. So they get the ball. They just knee the ball down on like a 4th and 1, and that was it. Well, or it was like a 4th and 6. Well, apparently the refs say there was still a second left on the clock, in which the announcers, I think it was Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, were like, yeah, you tried to get a little too cute, maybe take a couple more steps back. And I'm like, the clock started late. I mean, clearly the clock started late. So Penn State, with a second left, goes on, kicks a 50-yard field goal, and makes it so instead of it being 21-3, it being 21-6. And that irked me because this means that Penn State had momentum going into the locker room on just a clock management mistake by whoever was running the time up there. Clearly started the clock late. There should not have been a second left. It took a good 5 minutes to get everyone back on the field. Just send them into the locker room. They he clearly was giving himself up when the clock started. I mean, there was 2 seconds on the clock. There was no way that play took 1 second. There's just no way that play took 1 second. And I think that was the only thing in this game that really irked me. But Penn State does get the ball to start the second half, and they end up scoring a touchdown, which makes it 21-13. So all of a sudden, Penn State has life. They are in this game, and they're going to give the ball back to Justin Fields. That touchdown was made by Jahan Dotson, the 14-yard pass from Sean Clifford. How about Jahan Dotson in this game? We'll come back to him a little bit later. Then Ohio State does what they do best. It's a deep shot to Chris Olave. He has the second touchdown of the day, 49-yard pass from Justin Fields, and it is 28-13 for Ohio State. Later, Penn State punts on their next possession. Great defense from Ohio State today. I was really, really impressed with our run defense. I think we only gave up like 44 yards, so that's a huge improvement. Ohio State on their next drive kicks a 22-yard field goal. It is Damasio. And then the next play, and then the next drive for Penn State, a touchdown scored by Penn State. This takes us to the end of the third quarter. It was a little into the fourth that Penn State scored. The score is now 31-19 after Penn State failed a 2-point conversion. This again was Jahan Dotson. And these 2 plays to start the fourth quarter for Penn State were insane. So coming into the fourth quarter, Penn State's down 18 and they need a spark. Jahan Dotson gave them that spark. A pass complete to Jahan Dotson. He bobbled it around, caught it on his helmet, and went to the ground. The very next play, he goes up, full extension, one hand. Hold on 1 second. All right, sorry, I had to get the football. So he catches the ball on his helmet. Yeah, this is in arena football, okay? Sorry. He catches the ball after juggling around on his helmet, okay? The first play of the fourth quarter, and I was like, that is a crazy catch. Not what he did. The second play, I was in awe. I was around my living room. This was an incredible catch. He goes up, the ball's thrown perfectly, full extension, one hand palms the ball and gets into the end zone. The 2-point conversion ended up failing, but that makes the score 31-19, as I just said. But those 2 catches by Jahan Dotson really did spark some life into this Penn State team. But what did Ohio State do the next drive? They shut down that spark. 12 plays, 75 yards, 5 minutes off the clock, and it's Justin Fields to Jeremy Ruckert for the 1-yard touchdown on a 4th and goal. Ohio State's up 38-19. Penn State ends up scoring again. It is Jahan Dotson again, his 3rd touchdown of the day, 20 yards, and that makes the score 38-25, and that is how it would end. Ohio State wins this one 38-25. An interception by Marcus Herker at the 3:35 minute ended up probably sealing this game. Ohio State misses a field goal to try to get 40 points. It's Damasio. It's a walk-on, but all the field goals kicked by Ohio State were in the 23 yards. So if I have any concern about this team, it is now our kicking game, because what happened with Blake Caldwell? We now have to find a kicker, but we made all of our extra points. So, I mean, there you go. But for Penn State, before I get into the improvements and concerns for Ohio State, for Penn State, they are starting 0-2 for the first time in Big Ten play. I think just 0-2, period. No, I'm pretty sure it's 0-2 for the first time Big Ten play since like 2012 or 2010. And I think 0-2 for the first time since 2010. I mean, can you blame them? Indiana's been playing really well. They had to come up against a great Ohio State team. And I don't think a whole lot of people expected them to win this game. I know College Game Day swept Ohio State across the board, except for guest picker Trace McSorley, but understandably why. There was really no doubt for Ohio State coming into this game, and Ohio State made some major improvements. First off, with the offensive line. The offensive line played great. The offensive line played astounding. I was very impressed with the offensive line today. They absolutely controlled that line of scrimmage and allowed for 208 rushing yards from this Ohio State team, 110 of which came from Master Teague, and Trey Sermon had some carries as well, 56 yards. So Master Teague seems to be the guy, but Trey Sermon is an absolutely phenomenal phenomenal backup, 208 rushing yards. And Justin Fields didn't have to do a whole lot. Also, 62 of those rushing yards came on Garrett Wilson's end around, which there was great blocking by the other wide receivers and by the offensive line that allowed for that run on the very first play of the game. Offensive line, running backs, I have no complaints. The rush defense, again, that's what killed Ohio State against Nebraska, right? We didn't end up losing the game because it's Nebraska, but it was a concern coming into this game. Yeah, I said it earlier. Penn State only rushed the ball 27 times for 44 yards. That's an average of 1.6 yards per carry. Great. Our defensive line played great. So both of the lines made major improvements, and I am very, very happy with the way that these guys are playing football right now. We outgained Penn State 526 to 325. Defense played absolutely phenomenal, holding Penn State to 3 of 9 on third down conversions. I mean, just absolutely unreal. The one concern I think I'm going to have now is I'll have to read news on Blake Hobbiel and see what happened there. But I'm thinking maybe they just pulled him because he missed the 20-yard field goal on a guy who's usually automatic. He didn't seem to limp off the field or anything, but maybe could be an injury. But I don't think that is the case. I just think they were having concern on okay, you missed that 20-yard field goal. That might not just be your day. And they put in the walk-on kicker. Damasio, that is his name. I'm just reading it now. But he kicked 1 for 2, and they were both 20-some yard field goals. I think the one he made was 22. One he missed was 23. So 22 seems to be his range. But the walk-on kicker seems to have some range in him from what I've read and heard. So maybe he takes over kicking duties, but I would expect Blake Hobbiel to be back. But the walk-on did also take kickoff duties. And I think that is the one concern if you're an Ohio State fan, right? Watching this game, there's nothing that tells you that any improvement. You need to get out the microscope to find improvements on this Ohio State team. I mean, it is unreal. The wide receiving core, great. Olave and Wilson are phenomenal. And if those two guys aren't going, go to Williams, go to Jackson Smith and Jigba, go to Julian Fleming. I don't think Fleming played a whole lot in this game. I don't even know if he got a snap. They seem to be redshirting him for later years. And Jigba's getting snaps, and he got a couple receptions in this game. I've been happy with how the youngster has been playing. But the big guys are Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. Chris Olave and Justin Fields, that connection is dangerous. That connection is so good if you're an Ohio State fan. You absolutely love that connection. But I have no other concerns besides our kicking game. I mean, if Blake Hobbiel comes back, great. That problem is solved. If Damasio is going to be our kicker, he's got some improvements to make. He is a freshman walk-on, so it is going to be expected. But Ohio State gets the big win, and this seemed to be our toughest game on our schedule. We still have Indiana coming up. They're looking pretty good. They might jump into the top 10 once the rankings come out. I haven't seen the new ones yet as of recording this. Michigan, mixed feelings about Michigan now after they looked great against Minnesota and then lost against Michigan State. We're going to have to see how other teams play Ohio State. But the next game up is Rutgers. It is a primetime game on the Big Ten Network. I found that really funny. They put Ohio State Rutgers in primetime, but that's the next game. And I'll have to see you guys next Saturday or Sunday. It'll probably end up being Sunday because it is a night game. But again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this fan reaction, please leave a like. Also consider subscribing if you're brand new to the channel or you just enjoy my content. Turn on the notification bell so you do not miss an upload, and you can join Tailgate Nation. Also leave a comment down below if you watch this game. Tell me your thoughts on this game. Ohio State gets the big win. Again, your final score against the Penn State Nittany Lions is 38-25. Remember to play hard, but tailgate harder. And I'll see all you guys next week with another OSFR. Goodbye.